The sleek exploration vessel Horizon pierced through the atmosphere of Kepler-22b, its hull gleaming in the light of an alien sun. Captain Elena Rees stood at the helm, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling clouds below. After years of preparation and months of interstellar travel, humanity's first expedition to a potentially habitable exoplanet was about to make history. Atmospheric composition matches our projections, reported Dr. Alexei Volkov, the mission's chief scientist. His fingers danced across a holographic display, analyzing the stream of data pouring in from the ship's sensors. Oxygen levels are sufficient for human respiration. Elena nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through her veins. Excellent. Proceed with landing sequence, Lieutenant Chen. As the Horizon descended through layers of pearlescent clouds, the landscape of Kepler-22b revealed itself. Vast oceans of deep purple stretched to the horizon, dotted with archipelagos of emerald islands. The terrain was a patchwork of alien ecosystems, forests of towering, spiral-shaped trees, fields of iridescent grass, and mountain ranges that seemed to glow with an inner light. The ship touched down on a rocky outcropping overlooking a sprawling valley. Elena took a deep breath, savoring the moment. All right, team, let's make humanity proud. The expedition team, consisting of 12 specialists from various scientific disciplines, emerged from the horizon in their sleek exosuits. They moved with caution, each step a monumental leap for human exploration. Dr. Samnara Patel, the team's xenobiologist, was the first to remove her helmet. She inhaled deeply, her eyes wide with wonder. It's breathtaking. The air is sweet, almost like jasmine. For hours, the team collected samples and conducted preliminary surveys of the area. The planet seemed to be a treasure trove of scientific marvels. Plants that responded to touch with musical tones, rocks that appeared to have crystalline circuitry running through them, and small, levitating creatures that looked like a cross between jellyfish and butterflies. As the twin suns of Kepler-22b began to set, casting the sky in a spectacular array of colors, Elena called the team together. Great work, everyone. Let's set up base camp and... Her words were cut short by a low, resonating hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The ground beneath their feet began to vibrate, and the team watched in astonishment as the very landscape around them started to shift and change. What they had mistaken for natural rock formations began to unfold and rise, revealing themselves to be massive biomechanical structures. From these emerging edifices, figures began to appear, tall, elegant beings with skin that shimmered like polished opal and eyes that glowed with an inner light. "My God," whispered Dr. Volkov, his voice a mix of awe and fear. "We're not alone." The alien beings approached with fluid, almost liquid grace. They moved in perfect synchronization, as if guided by a single mind. The leader of the group, distinguished by intricate markings that pulsed with bioluminescence, stepped forward. To the human's shock, it spoke, not in words, but in a series of melodic tones and vibrations that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their minds. Dr. Lian Chen, the linguistics expert, gasped. It's trying to communicate. The language, it's like nothing we've ever encountered. It's not just sound, it's emotion, imagery, abstract concepts all at once. Elena steeled herself and took a step forward, hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "We come in peace," she said, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "We are explorers from a distant world, seeking knowledge and understanding." The alien leader tilted its head, the patterns on its skin shifting in complex patterns. Another wave of mental impressions washed over the humans, curiosity, caution, and a deep, ancient wisdom. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she processed the alien's response. "Captain, I think they're welcoming us. But there's more. They're surprised. It's as if they've been waiting for something or someone for a very long time." As night fell on Kepler-22b, the human expedition found themselves guests in a city that defied imagination. Structures of living metal and crystals stretched into the sky, pulsing with energy and life. The aliens, whom they learned called themselves the Lumina, guided them through corridors of light and chambers that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Elena marveled at the technology around them, so advanced it bordered on magic. Yet beneath her wonder, a kernel of unease took root. The Lumina were welcoming, yes, but there was an undercurrent of expectation in their interactions, a sense that humanity's arrival was more than mere chance. As she gazed out at the alien world from a balcony that seemed to float in midair, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they had stepped into something far greater and more complex than a simple expedition. The true nature of their encounter with the Lumina, and the role humanity would play in the unfolding cosmic drama, was yet to be revealed. The first contact had been made, but it was only the beginning. The real challenges and wonders lay ahead, waiting to test the limits of human courage, adaptability, and compassion. As the days passed on Kepler 22 bits, the initial wonder of first contact gave way to the complex reality of two vastly different civilizations trying to understand each other. The human expedition team, led by Captain Elena Reeves, found themselves both amazed and frustrated by their interactions with the Lumina. Dr. Samara Patel spent hours in what the team had dubbed the Harmony Chamber, a vast spherical room where the Lumina shared knowledge through a bewildering array of sensory inputs. "It's incredible," she reported during a team meeting, her eyes bright with excitement. "Their understanding of biology, of the very fabric of life itself, is centuries beyond ours. But trying to translate that knowledge into terms we can understand is challenging." Lieutenant Mike Foster, the team's security officer, frowned. "Challenging is an understatement. We've been here for a week, and we still can't figure out their social structure, their technology, or even if they have individual names. How are we supposed to establish meaningful relations like this?" Elena understood his frustration. Despite the Lumina's apparent openness, there was much they seemed unwilling or unable to explain. The humans' questions about the planet's history, about the origins of the Lumina, and about their obvious expectations regarding humanity's arrival were met with responses that were either too abstract to comprehend or maddeningly vague. "Patience, Lieutenant," Elena said, though she shared his concerns. "We're dealing with a truly alien intelligence here. It's going to take time." As if to underscore the captain's point, an alarm suddenly blared through the human camp. Dr. Alexei Volkov burst into the meeting room, his face pale. "Captain, you need to see this." The team rushed to the lab where Volkov had been analyzing soil samples. On a holographic display, a microscopic world writhed and pulsed. "I was running standard tests on the soil composition," Volkov explained, his voice shaking. "But when I introduced a sample of human DNA, this happened." The team watched in horror as the microscopic organisms in the soil sample began to rapidly evolve, taking on characteristics of human cellular structure. Within minutes, the Petri dish was filled with a pulsing, growing mass of tissue. "My God," whispered Dr. Chen. "It's like the planet itself is trying to assimilate us." Elena's mind raced. Was this the reason for Lumina's interest in humanity? Were they aware of this phenomenon? She turned to her team, her expression grim. "Dr. Patel, Dr. Volkov, I want you to dig deeper into this. Lieutenant Foster, double the security protocols. No one goes outside without a full biohazard suit from now on." As the team dispersed to their tasks, Elena made her way to the Harmony Chamber. She needed answers, and she needed them now. The chamber hummed with energy as Elena entered, the walls shimmer with patterns of light that seemed to respond to her presence. A Lumina emerged from what appeared to be a solid wall, its form fluid and graceful. "We need to talk," Elena said firmly, pushing aside her awe at the alien's appearance. "What aren't you telling us about this planet, about why we're here?" The luminous skin rippled with patterns of light, and Elena felt a wave of impressions wash over her mind. Images of ancient starships, of worlds torn apart by cosmic forces, of a long journey across the galaxy flashed through her consciousness. As the visions faded, Elena struggled to make sense of what she'd seen. You're not from here, are you? This planet, it's some kind of experiment. The Lumina's response was a complex blend of affirmation and hesitation. More images flooded Elena's mind, of the Lumina transforming barren worlds into lush gardens of life, of civilizations rising and falling under their guidance, of a grand plan unfolding across millennia. With a jolt of understanding, Elena realized the truth. You're gardeners, she breathed, cultivating life across the galaxy. And we're, what? Your latest crop. The alien's silent response carried a sense of both confirmation and gentle correction. The impression Elena received was not of humanity as a crop to be harvested, but as a long-awaited partner in a cosmic endeavor. As Elena left the Harmony Chamber, her mind reeling from the implications of what she'd learned, she nearly collided with Lieutenant Foster. The security officer's face was tight with concern. "Captain, we've got a situation," he reported. "Dr. Petal, she's missing, and we found this in her quarters." He held up a datapad. On it was a hastily scrawled message. "I understand now. It's beautiful. Don't try to find me." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The cultural clash between humans and Lumina had just taken a dangerous turn, and the consequences could be catastrophic for both species. As alarms blared through the human camp and search parties were hastily organized, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The true nature of their mission on Kepler 22 bits was only now beginning to reveal itself, and the choices they would make in the coming hours would shape the destiny not just of two species, but potentially of life throughout the galaxy. The twin suns of Kepler 22 bits sank below the horizon, casting long shadows across the alien landscape. As darkness fell, the bioluminescent life forms of the planet began to glow, creating a haunting, beautiful tapestry of light. Somewhere out there, Dr. Patel was wandering, perhaps already transformed by her contact with this world, and the Lumina watched, silent and inscrutable, as the drama they had set in motion millennia ago began to unfold. The search for Dr. Samira Patel stretched into its third day, with no sign of the missing xenobiologist. Captain Elena Rees stood at the edge of the human camp, her eyes scanning the alien horizon. The beauty of Kepler 22 bits now seemed tinged with menace, its vibrant colors and strange lifeforms a mask for untold dangers. "Captain," Lieutenant Foster's voice crackled over the comm. "We've got movement to the north. It's not Dr. Petal." Elena's heart raced as she turned to see a lone Lumina approaching the camp. Unlike the others they had encountered, this one moved with an urgency that seemed almost human. Its skin pulsed with rapid patterns of light, conveying an unmistakable sense of distress. As the alien drew closer, Elena was struck by a realization. "It's injured," she gasped, noticing the erratic fluctuations in the being's form. Dr. Chen, who had been working tirelessly to decipher the Lumina's complex language, stepped forward. "It's trying to communicate," he said, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Something about a breach, a mistake. The concepts are difficult to translate." The injured Lumina reached out, its appendage morphing into a tendril of light that touched Elena's forehead. Suddenly, her mind was flooded with vivid, terrifying images. She saw Dr. Patel, her body twisted and transformed, merging with the alien landscape. But it wasn't just Patel. The infection, or transformation, was spreading. The planet itself seemed to be awakening, its very essence reshaping itself in response to the human presence. And behind it all, Elena sensed a vast, ancient intelligence stirring, something that had slumbered for eons, waiting for this moment. As the vision faded, Elena staggered, supported by Dr. Chen. The Lumina before them flickered weakly, its light dimming. "We need to help it," Elena said, her voice hoarse. "And we need its help. Whatever's happening, it's affecting them too." Despite protests from some of the team, Elena ordered the Lumina to be brought into their medical bay. Dr. Volkov, though visibly nervous, began to examine the alien being. fascinating," he murmured. "Its cellular structure is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost as if it's in a state of constant flux, adapting and evolving in real time." As they worked to stabilize the Lumina, Elena briefed her team on what she had seen. "This isn't just about Dr. Patel anymore," she said grimly. "Whatever's happening is threatening both our species. We need to work together if we're going to survive." Lieutenant Foster scoffed. "Work together? Captain, with all due respect, these aliens have been manipulating us from the start. How can we trust them?" Elena met his gaze steadily. "Because right now, Lieutenant, we don't have a choice." As if in response to her words, the Lumina in the medical bay began to glow brighter. Its form stabilized, and a wave of communication washed over the humans present. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as he interpreted. "It's thanking us. And offering to help. I'm getting images of a place. A structure deep beneath the surface of the planet." Elena nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "That's where we need to go. Whatever's causing this, whatever the Lumina have awakened, intentionally or not, the answers are down there." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the human team prepared for an expedition unlike any they had trained for. The injured Lumina, whom they had started calling Nova for its brilliant glow, worked with them, sharing knowledge about the planet's underground structures and the strange technologies they would encounter. As they prepared to depart, Elena addressed her team. "I know you're scared. I am too. But what we do here, what we discover, could change everything, not just for us, but for all life in the galaxy. We have a chance to prevent a catastrophe and maybe, just maybe, forge an alliance that will take both our species to the stars." With a mixture of determination and trepidation, the joint human-Lumina expedition set off across the alien landscape. The ground beneath their feet pulsed with an ominous energy, and in the distance, strange structures began to rise from the Earth, as if the planet itself was waking from a long slumber. As they traveled, Nova communicated more of the Lumina's history to Elena and Dr. Chen. The aliens, they learned, were not native to Kepler 22 bits. They were the last survivors of a civilization that had spanned the galaxy, seeding life on countless worlds. But something had gone wrong on this planet. An ancient safeguard had failed, and now a power beyond even the Lumina's control was stirring. The journey was perilous. More than once, they encountered patches of the strange, transformative energy that had taken Dr. Patel. Elena watched in horror as a stray tendril of it brushed against one of her team members, causing their skin to ripple and change before Nova intervened, using its own energy to stabilize the transformation. As they descended into a vast cavern, the air thick with bioluminescent spores, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Despite the danger, despite the fear, they were on the cusp of a discovery that could reshape their understanding of life itself. The cavern opened up into a massive chamber, at the center of which stood a structure that defied description, part machine, part organism, pulsing with an energy that made the air itself feel alive. Nova's light pulsed urgently, and Dr. Chen translated. "It's saying this is the heart of the planet's ecosystem, a sort of cosmic incubator designed to nurture and evolve life across the galaxy. But something's gone wrong. The system is overloading, treating everything as raw material for evolution, including us." Elena stepped forward, her hand hovering over the alien console. "Then we need to shut it down," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. But as she reached out, a familiar voice echoed through the chamber. "No, you mustn't interfere." The team turned to see Dr. Patel emerge from the shadows. But she was changed, her form fluid and glowing like the Lumina, yet still recognizably human. "Don't you see?" Patel said, her voice resonating with newfound power. "This is the next step. The merging of our species, the birth of something greater than either of us could be alone." As Patel approached, her body shifting and changing, Elena realized that the true challenge they faced wasn't just to save themselves or even their respective species. It was a battle for the very nature of life itself, and the choices they made here would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. The chamber hummed with energy, the alien machinery pulsing in sync with Dr. Patel's transformed body. Humanity and Lumina stood together on the precipice of a decision that would shape the future of two species and countless worlds beyond. The next move was theirs, and the fate of life in the galaxy hung in the balance. The cavernous chamber fell silent as Captain Elena Reeves faced her transformed colleague, Dr. Samira Patel. The air crackled with tension, the alien machinery pulsing in eerie synchronization with Patel's new fluid form. "Samira," Elena said, her voice a mixture of concern and caution, "what's happened to you?" Patel's laugh echoed through the chamber, a sound both familiar and disturbingly alien. "I've evolved, Elena. I've become something more. And you can too. All of you can." Nova, the injured Lumina who had become their unlikely ally, flared with urgent patterns of light. Dr. Chen, interpreting, gasped. "It's saying that Dr. Patel has been, infected isn't the right word, assimilated, by the planet's core intelligence." Elena's mind raced. The cosmic incubator, it's not just creating life, it's absorbing it, reshaping it. "You're thinking too small," Patel interjected, her form rippling with excitement. "This isn't about reshaping life, it's about transcending it, becoming something greater than the sum of our parts." As Patel spoke, tendrils of energy began to seep from the walls, reaching out towards the team. Lieutenant Foster raised his weapon, but Elena held up a hand, stopping him. She could sense that violence wouldn't solve this. They needed understanding. "Explain it to us, Samara," Elena urged. "Help us understand what you've discovered." Patel's eyes, now swirling pools of bioluminescence, fixed on Elena. "The Lumen didn't tell you everything. This planet, this machine, it's not just an experiment. It's the key to saving the universe." Images flooded Elena's mind as Patel connected with her telepathically. She saw galaxies dying, cosmic voids expanding, the very fabric of reality fraying at the edges. "The universe is dying," Patel's voice echoed in her thoughts. "Entropy is winning. But this is the solution." Elena saw civilizations merging with planets, with stars, entire species evolving into beings of pure energy and thought. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly alien. "By transcending our physical forms," Patel continued, her voice resonating with fervor, "by merging with the very essence of the cosmos, we can stave off the heat death of the universe. We can ensure that life, in some form, continues eternally." The magnitude of the revelation staggered Elena. This wasn't just about their mission, or even about Earth and the Lumina. This was about the fate of all existence. Nova pulsed urgently, and Dr. Chen translated. "It's saying that Patel is right about the threat, but this solution, it's too dangerous. The process is unpredictable, uncontrollable. It could lead to the very destruction it's meant to prevent." Elena turned to Nova, her mind reeling. "You knew about this. Your people, you've been searching for a solution to the universe's entropy. That's why you seeded life across the galaxy. You were hoping to find species that could help you solve this problem." Nova's affirmative pulse was tinged with what Elena could only interpret as sorrow and regret. "But it went wrong, didn't it?" Elena pressed. "This planet, this machine, it's not working the way you intended. That's why you need our help." Before Nova could respond, Patel interjected. "They're afraid, Elena. Afraid of the next step in evolution. But we don't have to be. Join me. Join us. Together, we can save everything." The tendrils of energy crept closer, and Elena could feel the pull of the planet's core intelligence. It was seductive, promising knowledge and power beyond imagining. Lieutenant Foster's voice cut through her reverie. "Captain, we need to shut this thing down. Now." Elena hesitated, torn between the promise of transcendence and the warning in Nova's urgent lights. In that moment of indecision, Patel struck. Moving with impossible speed, she touched each member of the team, sending pulses of transformative energy through them. The humans cried out, their bodies beginning to shift and change. "No," Elena shouted, but it was too late. The transformation had begun. Nova flared brilliantly, enveloping Elena in a cocoon of protective light. Through the barrier, Elena watched in horror as her team writhed, their forms blurring and melding with the alien technology around them. "I'm sorry, Elena," Patel's voice echoed, now sounding less human with each word. "But the future of all life is at stake. I can't let your fears hold us back." With a surge of power, Patel merged with the central column of the cosmic incubator. The chamber shuddered, and Elena felt the entire planet tremble beneath her feet. "She's activating it," Dr. Chen gasped, his body only partially transformed thanks to Nova's intervention. "She's going to spread this across the galaxy." Elena's mind raced. The fate of not just her team, not just humanity, but all life in the cosmos now hung in the balance. She turned to Nova, that unlikely alien ally, and in that moment, a plan began to form. "We need to override the system," she said, her voice steadying with determination. "Not shut it down, but redirect it. If this machine can reshape life, maybe we can reshape it into something that can coexist with the universe, not transcend it." Nova pulsed in agreement, and together, they began to work. As Patel's consciousness spread through the machine, Elena and Nova raced against time, using their combined knowledge of human ingenuity and Lumina technology to reprogram the cosmic incubator. Around them, the chamber continued to shift and change, reality itself seeming to warp. Elena's partially transformed team members struggled against the pull of the machine, their humanity warring with the alien influence. As Elena worked, she felt the weight of countless civilizations on her shoulders. The choice she was making would shape the destiny of life itself. But in her heart, she knew that the essence of humanity, adaptability, compassion, the drive to explore and understand, was worth preserving. With a final, desperate push, Elena and Nova activated their modified program. The chamber filled with blinding light, and Elena felt herself falling into a sea of possibility and potential. The fate of humanity, the Lumina, and all life in the cosmos now rested on the success of their desperate gambit. As consciousness faded, Elena's last thought was a hope that they had found a way to face the universe's greatest challenge without losing the very essence of what made them who they were. The light engulfed everything, and the next chapter in the story of life in the universe began to unfold. Consciousness returned to Elena in waves, each bringing with it a new sensation of wrongness. Her body felt alien, her senses overwhelmed by inputs she couldn't begin to comprehend. As her vision cleared, she found herself floating in a space that defied description, a swirling vortex of energy and matter where the lines between organic and inorganic, physical and digital, blurred into meaninglessness. "Captain," Dr. Chen's voice cut through the chaos, familiar yet changed. Elena turned to see her linguist, his form a shifting amalgam of human and energy. "We're alive, I think." Before Elena could respond, Nova's presence washed over them, a beacon of coherent thought in the maelstrom. The luminous communication was clearer now, as if the barriers between their species had been partially dissolved. "The reprogramming was partially successful," Nova conveyed. "We've created a buffer zone, a space between realities where we can still affect the outcome." As if summoned by Nova's words, the rest of the team began to materialize around them. Lieutenant Foster, Dr. Volkov, and the others all changed, but still recognizably themselves. And at the center of it all, growing larger and more complex by the second, was the transformed Dr. Patel. "What have you done?" Patel's voice boomed, echoing from everywhere and nowhere. "You've disrupted the ascension, the transcendence of all life." Elena steeled herself, focusing on maintaining her sense of self in this reality-warping environment. "We've given life a choice, Samora. Transcendence isn't the answer if it means losing everything that makes us who we are." Patel's form twisted, tendrils of energy lashing out in fury. "You don't understand. The universe is dying. This is the only way to survive. No, Elena countered, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. It's one way, but not the only way. Humanity has faced extinction before, Samara. We've stared into the abyss, but we've always found another path. As Elena spoke, she felt her team rallying around her, their thoughts and emotions intertwining in this strange new reality. Even Nova and the other Lumina were joining them, their ancient wisdom blending with human determination. Patel's attack came swiftly, a wave of transformative energy that threatened to overwhelm them all. But Elena and her allies were ready. Drawing on their combined strength, they created a shield of pure will, deflecting Patel's assault. The battle that followed defied conventional description. It was fought not just with energy and matter, but with ideas, with the very concepts of evolution and identity. Elena and her team fought to maintain their individuality while also adapting to their new reality, each small victory a step towards a future where humanity could survive without losing its essence. Nova and the Lumina brought their ancient knowledge to bear, showing how countless civilizations have faced similar challenges over the eons. Together, they began to weave a new pattern in the fabric of reality, one that would allow life to evolve and adapt without losing the diversity that made it resilient. But Patel, fueled by the raw power of the cosmic incubator, was relentless. With each attack, more of the team's humanity was stripped away. Elena watched in horror as Lieutenant Foster's form dissolved into pure energy, his consciousness barely holding onto a semblance of self. "We can't keep this up forever," Dr. Volkov's thoughts echoed, tinged with desperation. "We need to find a way to shut down the incubator." Elena's mind raced. Shutting it down wasn't an option. The energies involved were too great, the consequences too dire. They needed to redirect it to... Suddenly, it clicked. "We don't shut it down," Elena communicated to her team. "We synchronize with it. We show it a better way." Understanding rippled through the group. One by one, they began to align their consciousnesses not against Patel and the incubator, but with the underlying rhythm of the universe itself. Elena felt this shift as their small group became a conduit for something greater. The fundamental forces that governed reality, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, began to flow through them. But instead of losing themselves to this cosmic power, they shaped it, guided it. Patel's attacks became less focused, her form wavering as she sensed the change. What are you doing?" she demanded, confusion replacing anger. "We're evolving," Elena answered, her voice resonating with newfound power. "Not by transcending our physical forms, but by understanding them. By becoming one with the universe without losing ourselves." The energy of the cosmic incubator began to shift, responding to the new pattern Elena and her allies were creating. It was no longer a force for blind transformation, but a tool for conscious evolution. Patel's form started to unravel, the overwhelming power she had absorbed now, seeking a new equilibrium. I can see it now," she gasped, her voice filled with awe and regret. "The beauty in the balance, the strength in diversity." As Patel's consciousness rejoined the team, the energies of the cosmic incubator surged one final time. Elena felt herself expanding, her awareness stretching across light years. She saw the Lumina homeworld, Earth, and countless other planets teeming with life, and she understood. The battle wasn't just for survival. It was for the right of all life to choose its own path, to face the challenges of an uncaring universe, not by becoming something else, but by becoming the best versions of themselves. As the energy began to stabilize, Elena turned to her team, human, Lumina, and everything in between. "We've won the battle," she said, "but the real work is just beginning." The cosmos stretched out before them, filled with possibilities. They had unlocked the power to shape reality itself, but with it came the responsibility to use that power wisely. As the first wave of changes rippled across the galaxy, Elena knew that the greatest adventure of all was just beginning. The fate of all life now rested in their hands, a coalition of humans and aliens who had looked into the heart of creation and chosen to embrace their role as conscious agents of evolution. The universe would never be the same, and neither would they. The cosmic incubator's energy slowly dissipated, leaving Elena and her team floating in a vast, star-filled expanse. Their forms had stabilized, no longer shifting between states of matter and energy, but they were irrevocably changed. Each of them now existed as a unique blend of human lumina and something entirely new, conscious embodiments of the universe's potential. Elena looked at her hands, marveling at the swirls of starlight just beneath her skin. She could feel the cosmic background radiation tingling through her neurons, taste the hydrogen of distant nebulae on her tongue. Yet, despite these alien sensations, she felt more human than ever. "We did it," Dr. Chen said, his voice carrying the harmonics of quasar songs. "We found a middle path." Nova, their luminate ally, pulsed with agreement. "You have achieved what my people sought for eons," the alien conveyed, its thoughts a tapestry of relief and wonder. "A way to evolve without losing the essence of who we are." Dr. Patel, now free from the overwhelming influence of the cosmic incubator, approached the group. Her form shimmered with remorse and hope in equal measure. "I'm so sorry," she began, but Elena held up a hand. "We all made choices, Samara. What matters now is what we do with this gift we've been given." As if in response to her words, the space around them shimmered, and Elena felt a tug of connection to every living being in the galaxy. She saw planets teeming with life, civilizations rising and falling, the grand tapestry of existence unfolding before her. "We're connected to it all," Lieutenant Foster observed, his military bearing now softened by cosmic understanding. "Every planet, every species." Dr. Volkov, his scientist's curiosity blazing brighter than ever, probed the extent of their new abilities. "We can traverse space at will, manipulate matter and energy, even influence the course of evolution itself. The responsibility is enormous." Elena nodded, feeling the weight of that responsibility settling on her shoulders. "Which is why we can't make decisions for the entire galaxy. We need to find a way to share this gift, to let each species choose its own path." The team spent what felt like both an eternity and an instant exploring their new reality. They learned to navigate the cosmos with a thought, to communicate across vast distances, and to see the intricate web of cause and effect that shaped the universe. But with their newfound power came difficult questions. How much should they intervene in the natural course of evolution? How could they protect developing civilizations without stifling their growth? The debates were long and passionate, each team member bringing their unique perspective to bear. Finally, a consensus began to emerge. "We become guardians," Elena proposed, "not rulers. We use our abilities to nudge things in the right direction, to prevent catastrophes, but we let life find its own way." Nova and the other Lumina shared their millennia of experience, helping the humans understand the delicate balance required. Together, they began to formulate a plan, a grand design for fostering life and consciousness across the galaxy. They would seed barren planets with the potential for life, guide evolution with a gentle hand, and offer the gift of cosmic awareness to species that reached a certain level of development. But always there would be choice. No species would be forced to transcend if they weren't ready. As their plans took shape, Elena felt a bittersweet pang. "We can never go back, can we?" she asked, thinking of Earth and the lives they'd left behind. Dr. Chen smiled, a gesture that now carried the warmth of solar flares. "Not as we were, but who says we can't visit?" And so, invisibly to most, a new force entered the cosmic stage. Across the galaxy, fledgling civilizations would tell tales of mysterious guardians, of impossible rescues from cosmic catastrophes, and of the day when the stars themselves seemed to reach down and offer a hand of friendship. On Earth, a team of astronomers puzzled over an anomalous signal from the direction of Kepler 22 bits. For a brief moment, their instruments registered a burst of energy that defied explanation, accompanied by a message encoded in the fabric of space-time itself. You are not alone. When you're ready, we'll be waiting. Elena and her team, once ordinary humans on an extraordinary mission, had become something more, not by abandoning their humanity, but by embracing it fully and extending it to the stars. They had faced the ultimate challenge and emerged not as conquerors, but as nurturers of life's infinite potential. As they spread across the cosmos, seeding worlds with possibility and gently guiding the grand experiment of evolution, they carried with them the best of what it meant to be human: curiosity, compassion, and an unyielding spirit of exploration. The universe, vast and wondrous, pulsed with new life and new possibilities. And at the heart of it all, a group of former Earthlings and their alien allies stood watch, ready to welcome new friends to the cosmic community when the time was right. Their journey had only just begun, and the greatest adventure of all, the evolution of life and consciousness itself, stretched out before them, infinite in its potential and breathtaking in its beauty. As Elena gazed out at the swirling galaxies, a smile played across her starlit face. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that the spirit of humanity, adaptable, resilient, and ever curious, would rise to meet them. The cosmic dance continued, and they were no longer just observers, but active participants in the grandest story ever told, the story of life itself.